Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome back to the Slang of Ages Podcast. I'm Preston Frazier, and here we are on YouTube talking about another upcoming episode. This is a preview for Season 5, Episode number 3, where we talk about the album Toy Matinee by the band Toy Matinee. This album was released on June 28th, 1990. Before we talk about a few points of the album, I ask you to subscribe via your podcatcher and listen to the full episode. It's on Amazon Podcasts and Stitcher. So please subscribe, please like. I know I haven't been asking that from a lot of these podcasts, but the more people who like it, the more people who know about it. So please subscribe and like. And also, since you're watching this on YouTube, please like it, share it, and subscribe. I occasionally put full episodes on my YouTube channel, but I will also put some retro audio only reviews and interviews I've done over the past 10 years. This one is an album I have not reviewed, but have been loving for a long time, probably since it was released in 1990. And as I mentioned, it is the Toy Matinee album. The Toy Matinee, as some of you may know, was a concept by keyboardist composer Patrick Leonard and Kevin Gilbert, who was a guitarist and keyboardist, and also featured the great Guy Pratt on bass. And though Guy was not listed as one of the founding members and originators of Toy Matinee, he very much is, and had a huge impact on this album. And of course, Guy Pratt had a huge impact on Pink Floyd, being on the last 3 Pink Floyd studio albums and every Pink Floyd tour since Roger Waters left the band. Patrick Leonard may be known by some of you because Patrick Leonard is a co-writer with Madonna. He worked on a few of her albums, True Blue. He worked on Ray of Light, Like a Prayer, Who's That Girl? So Patrick Leonard is a very successful writer. He's also a very successful studio keyboardist, working with the likes of Roger Waters on his Amused to Death album. And a wonderful composer. So a composer, keyboardist, arranger, and then you have Kevin Gilbert. And Kevin Gilbert is kind of the X factor in this album, in X factor in terms of the music on Toy Matinee, because Kevin Gilbert wasn't very well known, but he was a fantastic keyboardist, guitarist, vocalist, arranger. And you may know Kevin Gilbert from his work on the very first Sheryl Crow album, which I think was called Tuesday. What's it called? Tuesday Music Shop or something like that. And Kevin Gilbert at the time when that album came out was the boyfriend of Sheryl Crow. And he had a very successful solo career in his own right. He was also considered a possible replacement for Phil Collins when Collins left Genesis, but that never came to fruition. And Kevin Gilbert died. He died very shortly after the release of the Toy Matinee album. And as you will probably hear from the podcast, he died of asphyxiation, which they think was autoerotic asphyxiation. He choked to death. So Kevin Gilbert, great talent. There are a bunch of Kevin Gilbert albums out there, a lot of posthumous albums that were released, all of which are great studio quality. Kevin Gilbert had a very strong voice and a very strong sense of melody, great lyricist, and he fits really well with Patrick Leonard, the two bringing together a fantastic band as well. As I mentioned, Patrick Leonard on keyboards, Guy Pratt on fretted and fretless bass, as well as 5-string bass. Tim Pierce, guitarist out of California, who handled a majority of the lead guitar work and some of the rhythm work with Kevin Gilbert. And Tim Pierce, I think, also co-wrote one of the songs on Toy Matinee. Brilliant guitarist. I urge you to check out Tim Pierce's Facebook and his YouTube site, where he talks about this album and how it was pulled together. And this cast of great characters, including Brian McLeod on drums and percussion, who also worked with Sheryl Crow, Julian Lennon on one song, Durga McBroom, another Pink Floyd alum, on one song. So the album has a lot of great musical talent. It has a lot of fantastic melodies that Gilbert and Leonard came up with, and also some co-writes with Guy Pratt and Bill Bottrell as well. So a fantastic album. It wasn't a huge hit. It had some moderate success on the rock charts and some moderate success on the album charts. And Gilbert actually did tour for a Toy Matinee. Patrick Leonard couldn't because of his commitments to studio work, and he had no interest in touring. But Gilbert took a small band out with him to tour, which included himself on guitar. It included himself on keyboards, Mark Bonolia, there we go, on guitar as well. And of course, Mark is currently working with the band Asia. And then you have Spencer Campbell on bass, Toss Panos, another California icon, on drums, and Sheryl Crow handles some additional keyboards, piano, and backing vocals for the live Tour Matinee album. Fantastic album, not a huge seller, fantastic songs. Listen to the podcast on your podcatcher and then rate it. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that after Gilbert's death, well, there was supposed to be a Toy Matinee 2 album, but after Gilbert's death, Patrick Leonard decided that he didn't want to continue with Toy Matinee, and he created a band called Third Matinee, which had many of the same players. Of course, Kevin Gilbert was not involved in the writing or the production or the playing, but Patrick Leonard did bring in the fantastic Richard Page, who's known for his work with the band Mr. Mister. So Page contributed guitar, rhythm guitar, contributed all the vocals, lead vocals, did most of the backing vocals in the arrangements, and co-wrote with Patrick Leonard. Another strong album by Third Matinee. Is it as good as Toy Matinee? Maybe, maybe not, but you be the judge. In any case, I urge you to check out Toy Matinee. Check out Kevin Gilbert's solo albums. His website is chock full of merchandise, box sets, solo albums. And of course, Patrick Leonard is still around. He's doing solo keyboard work. He's doing solo vocal work. He's still producing. He's still writing. So Toy Matinee is a must-have for your record collection. Check it out, and I will see you soon. Oh, and before I go, again, rate and share the podcast. I appreciate you sharing this. I appreciate your feedback at slangofages.com or slangofages@me.com. If you want to email me, listen to the podcast on your podcatcher, rate it here on YouTube, and I will see you very soon. Take care.